Hello, so in this video, I'm going to show you how I create a profitable meta campaign for contractors and service businesses in 2025. And I know what you're probably thinking, Facebook ads don't work. And honestly, you're right, if all you're getting are cheap leads that never turn into real projects. But when you set them up the right way, like we do for our clients, you can land bigger projects and real conversions. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video step by step, so keep watching. Please keep in mind that this is not a guarantee and results may vary. Based on your market, your quality, what you're offering, there's a lot of stuff that comes to it. So that being said, from my perspective, I'm going to show you what I have seen working very well for contractors right now. So first of all, you go to Ads Manager. Ads Manager is basically the site where you're going to create ads in a more advanced way. You guys are probably also familiar with boosted posts, and I think you guys maybe already have ran an ad through your phone, but this is not the way to go. Always go on your laptop or your iPad and go to the desktop version and go to the website of Ads Manager. This is the best way to create your ads and the most advanced way. So when you're on Ads Manager, you're gonna see this page. If you don't see this page, it probably means that you didn't make a business manager first. So first you'll have to create a business manager. If you don't have one, it should easily show you how to do it. If you already have one, this is probably the page that you're gonna see. So from here on, you're gonna start with creating the campaign. So you click here. So here we have 6 different campaign objectives, and this is a really important thing. There's a lot of people that go for engagement, traffic, awareness, but the best thing that you can do is choose leads. Because if you're gonna choose engagement, which I see a lot of people doing, you're gonna get messages, but you're gonna see that you're also gonna have a lot of low quality leads. And that's not good because it can screw up your campaign and it will also waste a lot of your time. Because you'll be texting with people that were never serious in the first place. And if you want to minimize this and you wanna have more high quality people, you should always take leads. So we're gonna take leads as a campaign objective. This is the best practice in the industry right now. So once you've clicked on leads, you go further. Okay, so here you can give your campaign a name. So for example, we're just gonna call it contractor campaign. And then we go here, and right here you'll see the campaign budget. So this is important. I usually always start with $25 a day. Why? Because you can take a lower amount, but you're going to see that results will be way slower. And from my experience, every time that we take something below 25, we don't see any results, or we see results coming in very, very slow. And if you want to see results coming in within the first week, you should definitely start with a budget of 25 if you want to have the most chances of success. So I would start with $25 a day. Ideally, I would start with $35 a day, but if you really don't have a higher budget, you can always start with 25. And here you can choose between campaign budget and ad set budget. I would definitely pick ad set budget because this will allow you to test different things like your audience, your primary text, your headlines, and a lot of other different stuff. So always choose ad set budget. From my perspective, this has been working the best. So this will divide budgets between different ad sets. Because if you're going to choose campaign budget, Meta is going to choose by itself which ad set it's going to spend your budget on using Advantage Plus. So you want to have more control. You can do campaign budget, but if you want to have more control, I would recommend going for ad set budget. And I would typically just turn this off. You can also do A/B testing, but that's something that I'm going to explain in another video because this is too complex to explain right now. So after you've done that, you click on next. And then you're on the ad set level. So this is also important to know. With ads, you have 3 levels. You have the campaign level. So that was what we saw earlier. So this is the campaign level. Now we have the ad set level, and now we have the ads level. So you can have different ads in ad sets. And I'll explain you more about this more down the video. So we just call this contractor ad set. So we just call this contractor ad set. And right here, you'll see the conversion location. Okay, this is important. So there are different things that you can do. Like we talked about earlier, I would not choose messenger leads. I would also not choose instant forms and messenger or Instagram or WhatsApp. I would specifically focus on either website or instant forms. But ideally, if you're just starting out with advertising, I would choose instant forms and not website. Because website is basically when you're going to send people to the contact page of your website. But that is not always the best performing thing you can do, because then you actually need to make sure that your website is fully optimized, that your website speed is very fast, because when people click on the ad, they need to be on your website within a second. So all those things need to be optimized, and you need to make sure that you actually have a good landing page when people click on the link. And a lot of websites, they don't have this. Just sending people to your normal contact page is not enough. So if you do not have this and you're just starting out with ads as a contractor, just focus on instant forms to begin with. In my experience, this is the best way to start. So once you clicked on instant forms, you can choose your Facebook page. So this is important. You're going to choose the Facebook page that you're using. So when you've clicked on instant forms, you can choose which Facebook page you want to advertise in. So make sure that you're selecting your actual business page here and also your Instagram page. Some people don't have their Facebook page connected yet with their Instagram page, so make sure that they're both connected. You can do this by going to Business Suite. And this is important because otherwise your ads will not be shown via your Instagram page. You want to make sure that your ads are also shown through your Instagram page as well as your Facebook page. So the performance goal, you keep it like this, maximize the number of leads. And then when you scroll below, you take your daily budget. So this is the ad set budget. And like I said earlier, I would take $25 per ad set to begin with. Ideally 35, but this is a good start. An important thing to know is that Meta will sometimes spend more on certain days and spend less on certain days, but your weekly budget should never be exceeded, just like it says here. So don't stress out if some days the spend is a little bit higher. So here you can choose the start date of your campaign and the end date. I would never take an end date because then it's going to end the campaign. I would just keep it like this. You can still turn off or pause the campaign whenever you want. And right here, this is an important thing. This is your audience. So this is who you want to target with your ads. You want to click on show more controls. First of all, you want to make sure that you actually have the location ready that you want to advertise in. So for example, I just took the United States, but let's say we want to advertise in Tampa, for example. We search Tampa right here, Florida. We click on Tampa. We see the location and you have two things that you can do. So first of all, you can advertise in a radius. So for example, let's say I want to make sure that my ads is shown to people within a radius of 20 miles from the selected points. You can also target addresses. So right now I did Tampa, but you can always add your own address or another address. And then from there on, you can create a radius. Another thing that you can do is use zip codes, which is also very beneficial if you only want to target in specific areas, then you can use zip codes. So right here, you can click on exclude. Let's say there's a certain area that you don't want to advertise in because you know your target group is not there. You just type in, for example, Lakeland right here. You click here. And then you can also add a radius or you can just use zip codes. But for this campaign, we're just going to keep it like this. And then we have this, reach more people likely to respond to your ads. I would just turn this off. If you only want to reach homeowners in that area, turn this off. And then right here we have age. So most of my clients, they target people above 30 because that's the age of most of their clients. And you can also set a max age. You can also select genders and then you can also do custom audiences. Custom audiences are one of the strongest things that you can use in Facebook and Instagram advertising. Custom audiences will allow you to target very specific types of people. And it's a really strong tool. But it's a bit more complex to explain, so I'll explain this more detailed in another video. But if you do not have a lot of data yet, I would just keep that off. So right here we have detailed targeting. This is basically where you can select interests, like for example, if you want to target people that are interested in home improvement, you can search home improvement and then you can select interests, for example. For example, if you say I want to target people that are interested in roofing, you can select roofing. You can target people based on demographics. You can target people based on their interests and also on their behaviors. Right here, you can also click on browse and then you can also click on demographics. You can choose education, education levels. So you can do a lot of things with this detailed targeting. But right now, I would just turn this off. And the reason why I would turn this off is because Meta is already so advanced with their AI algorithms that Facebook and Instagram will automatically find the best target group for your ads. So when you're going to start running your ads, your campaign will usually have a learning phase that will take about a week or a bit longer. And during that learning phase, Meta is basically going to find the perfect target audience to show your ads to. And it's going to do that by analyzing your text. It's going to do that by analyzing your ads. And it's going to do that by analyzing which audience is engaging the most with your ads. And it's best to just add no detailed targeting and let Meta do its job. And this is what I usually do, and this is what has been working very well for the contractors that we've been working with. You can also target people based on languages. So if you want to target people that speak Spanish, you can select Spanish. Or if you want to target people that only speak English, you can target English. But usually I would just turn this off. So right here we have placements. This basically means where do you want your ads to be shown. For example, right here, if you say I only want to advertise on Facebook, you can turn off Instagram and your ads won't be shown on Instagram. Or right here, replacement controls, you can turn off feeds, stories, and you can even go further than that, like you can see here. But I wouldn't change much about this. I would actually keep it like this because Facebook is automatically going to test which placements are working best for you and it's going to optimize on that. And it's automatically going to spend your budget on the placements that are working the best. So I would just keep it like this and I wouldn't change anything. Now we go to the ad level. So we click on next. So now we're on ad level and this is where we're going to create our campaign. With the daily budget that we talked about earlier, I would just start with 3 ads per ad set. So you're going to make 3 ads with 3 different hooks to see what's working the best. I would definitely test different ads at the same time because if you're only going to test one ad and that ad doesn't work, then you have nothing else. So you definitely want to test different ads. That is literally the key to success with meta advertising. So right here, we just gave this ad a name. We called it ad 1. I would just keep this on and here you can choose which type of ad you want to use. So you can choose single image or video or you can choose carousel. In my experience, what I would advise you to use as a contractor are videos. Why do you want to use videos? Because videos are much more personal. When a potential customer is watching the video, they will actually feel a connection with your company because they'll see a face behind the business, which is really important. And also it's way easier to hook people in. People tend to be much more hooked when they look at a video rather than just a flat picture. And just a flat picture doesn't really build a connection with the potential customer that's watching your ad. So I would definitely use videos and make sure that there's a face behind the business. Try to do some research on hooks and see which hooks work the best. Like I said earlier, you need to test a lot before you can actually see what's working the best. You can also choose carousel, that's if you want to have multiple pictures in one ad. But like I said, I would focus on videos first of all. And typically these videos need to be max 30-40 seconds long. Don't make them too long because then people are not going to watch until the end. And you want to make sure that there is a CTA at the end, so a call to action so people know what the next step is. So keep it 30-40 seconds and try to explain your value proposition in those 30-40 seconds. Try to tell the audience why you guys are different, why they should choose for you and not for the other competitors. What's making you the better option? You also want to create some urgency and scarcity when people are seeing your ads. So for example, you can say we're doing a discount of 20%, but it's only for the 8 next homeowners that sign up. Or you can use a discount with an end date. So for example, you can say get your free quote now and get 20% off before September the 5th. This will create urgency because some people, they see our ad and they're like, why should I click on it now? Like I can click on it next week, in 2 weeks. But if you use discounts, you're going to see that people feel the urgency to leave their information now and not later. But it's important that you actually apply these discounts when you do this. Don't make it misleading. Also in the video, try to add some videos of the work that you guys have done so people can actually see the quality of your work. At Imedial, we have a team that actually makes those ads for our clients because they do not have time to make all these ads and they don't know the best practices. Because the meta algorithm changes constantly and we keep up with this every single month. And that's how we make these ads profitable for our clients. So right here, you're just going to keep multi-advertiser ads on. And now we have destination. So I'm going to show you the best practices when creating a form. So you click on create form. You give your form a name. So for example, we say version 1. And here you can choose, do you want more volume? Do you want higher intent? So if you want real quality leads, you can choose higher intent, but usually I would not choose this, especially in the beginning. In the beginning, the most important thing is to get more leads. And then when you start getting a lot of leads, you can just add more qualifying questions to get more high quality leads. We usually don't work with this one. So I would just choose more volume. I think this is the best thing to do when you're just starting out. I would just keep this on in the beginning if you want to test out with your forms. So after that, we click on intro. This is basically where you're going to add your headline and your description. So here you have background image and you have greeting. So in our intro, we're definitely going to turn on background image. You can just choose a picture of your work or anything else that is a bit captivating so people can already feel some kind of personalization. So if you add a picture here, it's just going to make your form a bit more personalized, but make sure that the size of your image is not too high because otherwise you're going to have problems when people click on your form. It may load a little bit longer because the image has a very high size. So right here, I would always turn on greeting because you want to make sure that people are hooked into your form. And a greeting helps a lot with this. Like I said earlier, we turned on optimized flexible form delivery. So this means that Meta will test your form in different ways. I would definitely put your greeting on because it's not only important to hook people into your video, but it's also important to hook them into your form after they've actually clicked on the video. And a greeting is a great way to do this. So for example, here on the headline, I would put something like get your free quote now, 20% off now, something like that, to remind them of the offer that's going on right now. And then in the description, I would write something like, leave your information and get 20% off now before September the 5th or something like that. Just don't make it too long. Make sure that your offer is clear. And once you have that, you go to questions. And right here, you will be able to add all the questions. So you can use different things. Like right here, you can choose multiple choice, short answer, conditional, appointment request. I would definitely keep it with multiple choice and short answer if you're beginning. And I wouldn't add too much short answers. Why? Because you also want to make sure when people click on your form, it's not going to be a survey. Like it shouldn't take more than 5 minutes to complete. You just need to make sure that you have that balance so you don't ask too many questions, but you also want to make sure that you still get qualified leads. So just make sure that you ask some multiple choice, just add some short answers in there, but I would just keep it with one short answer to begin with and add some different multiple choice questions. Ideally like one or two multiple choice questions, but you don't want to ask too much questions because then a lot of people are going to fall off. So with multiple choice, you can ask questions like what services are you looking for? And then you can add the different answers here. You can also do allow multiple responses. So they can select multiple responses. And then right here, short answer, you can ask something like, what's your website or what's your budget or something else. And then right here, very important, the contact information. In the description, you're going to write something like, we're going to use your information to contact you and to make a personalized quote. So here you write down why you need their contact information. This is important. Don't make it too long, but just make sure that they know why you need their contact information. And then right here, you can ask different types of contact information, like their email, their full name, their phone number. Like I said earlier, you can make questions optional or required. Very important. If you make it optional, they don't have to fill it in order to complete the form. But you want to make sure that you always put as required if you need to. If you really want to know the answers, you need to make sure that it's required. So you turn off optional. So they actually have to fill it in if they actually want to complete the form. Usually we don't add too many optional questions. And then right here, the same thing. We just turn it off and make sure that it's all required to fill in. And then right here, if you click on add category, you can ask other information like street address, city, state, province. You can ask other information like date of birth, gender, company name, work email. So right here, you can do that. I wouldn't ask too much. I would just keep it with their email, full name, phone number, and their address. Because you already have those other questions right here as well, and you don't want to make it too long for them. You just want to get the most important information. And right here we have the privacy policies. So here you will add the link of your privacy policy. And you can also add a custom notice to make sure that you actually have approval to contact them and send them marketing emails or promotional emails. So once you've done that, you go to ending, and this is where you're going to add a headline and the description. So for example, you can just say, thanks, you're all set, we get your information. And right here, you also write something like, we got your information. If you want to know more about us, just visit our website, ... And right here, you can add an additional action. So if you want to bring them to your website after they've completed the form, you can bring them to a specific landing page or URL by clicking on this and adding your link. You can click on view files. So this will allow them to click on a button and then they will see a certain file. Or you can do call business. This will allow them to call you directly after they filled out the form. Or you can give them the opportunity to start a chat with you on WhatsApp. So it really depends on where you want them to go to next. But typically, I'll just bring them to the website. So you just add your website. And right here, you can choose the text of your call to action. So for example, view our website or click here, for example. I would turn the connect with leads and messenger off because it's just going to create unnecessary extra steps for your potential customers. So just keep this off unless you really want to start a conversation with them afterwards. But if you just start out with advertising, turn this off and leave it like this. After that, you click on create form. And now you get your first form. Over time, you will see which forms are working best. You can test out different forms with different ad sets or just within different ads. But this is basically how you create a form from scratch. When we scroll down here, you'll see these buttons. Just keep it like this. Don't turn it on. Same thing with this. You can connect your CRM here. And this is where you're going to add your creatives. So, for example, we're just going to add a random creative right now. We're just going to click on setup creative and then you click on video ad. So once you've clicked on that, you're going to click on upload and you're going to upload the ad that you want to run. So for example, I have an ad for contractors that I ran recently. So I'm just going to click on this. I'm going to click on next. And right here, you're going to see some different placements for your video. So if you want to have the best results, I recommend making a different version for each one of them. So for the vertical video frame, you already have your normal video, but then I would make a separate one in your editing platform for square videos or for horizontal videos. If you don't have an editing platform or you have no idea how to edit, or you're not really good at making different frames, so I would just make sure that these three are optimized. You can also just click here or click here, or you can make your own one on CapCut or any other editing platform like Premiere Pro or anything else that you're using. But just make sure if you have text on your ad that it's not cropped out. Make sure that people can still see your text and everything that's important. So once you've done that, you click on text, and this is where you're going to add the text of your ad. So here you have your primary text. This is the text that's going to be shown above your ad or under your ad. Then you have the ad line text. This is basically the bigger text that's going to be shown on your ad. And then you have the description. This is the small text that's going to be shown right under your ad. And then here you have the call to action. This is really important. You want to make sure that these texts are actually good. Don't make them too long, but also make sure that they're not too short. And make sure that you test a lot of different texts. I'm just going to start with, hey, homeowners, for example. Then you add some social proof, like we got more than 100 5-star reviews on Google. My name is Lander, for example. We do this, 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 and this. And then you add your satisfaction guarantee and the end date of your discount, for example. And then at the end of each primary text, you make sure that you have a clear call to action. Like, for example, click below to get a free quick quote and 20% off before September the 5th, for example. But you need to make sure that you always have your CTA at the end of this. And right here, you can create different primary texts. So I would definitely suggest using all 5 of them. This way Meta will be able to test different things at the same time. Don't just make one and only use this, because then you're only dependent on one single primary text, and you don't want it. You want to make sure that you actually test different texts. And try to make each text from a different perspective so you can actually see what's working the best. This is going to be a bold text that is going to be shown under your ad. So for example, usually we just add this, get a free quote. Or for example, we add something like click here to get your free quote. To get your free quote. You also want to make sure that you max this out and that you actually use 5 different headlines that Meta can test. But I always suggest making sure that this is an actual CTA. So for example, get a free quick quote or click here to learn more, because this is going to be an extra call to action to push them to the next step. You can also add something like top rated contractor in the city or something like that, but just don't make it too long, because otherwise it's not going to be shown completely. Just don't make it too long. You want to make sure that people see your headline completely. And like I said, make them all similar to each other but a different perspective, and try to make sure that this is an actual CTA. From my perspective, this is what works the best for contractors. You can also use other things like best rated in the city or other stuff like that, but I always use CTAs because we see that this has been working the best for our clients. And now right here we have a description. This is something that you don't necessarily need to add, but I would suggest adding it because it's just an extra bonus on your ad. And usually I add something like 20% off. So you reinforce the discount that you guys are doing, or you just add the name of your business, for example, Imedial. And right here, you can make the text a little bit more longer. So for example, only for the next 9 people. So these texts can be a little bit longer. You're going to see why in a bit. Okay, and also max this out. So try to use all 5 of them. And right here, we have our call to action, depending on what you want people to do. In our case, it's going to be get a quote. So you're going to make sure that the call to action is get quote. So this is the actual text that they're going to see on the button that they have to click on in order to go to the form. You can also do learn more. But if you only want them to get a free quick quote, I would usually just do learn more or get quote or get offer. I wouldn't choose any other ones to begin with. Unless you're giving out like a flyer or something else, you can choose something else like download. But right now I would just choose one of these 3. So when you click on next, you will see this. So these are the Advantage Plus creative enhancements. So these are things that you can turn on, and then Meta will start testing a lot more with text improvements, visual touch-ups, your CTA and video effects. I would usually turn off add video effects and also visual touch-ups, because this is basically going to change your visual and you don't really want this unless you really have like bad visuals or bad videos. Also video effects, I would also turn off that, but I would turn on text improvements and enhance CTA. So this will allow Meta to test different click to actions. And also here, text improvements, it will basically start using AI to test a lot of different texts to see what's working best. So once you have that, you click on done. And now you have your ads uploaded right here. As you can see, this is what it will look like on the Facebook feed, on the Instagram feed. So you can see your different placements right here. Instagram stories as well. So this will give you a preview on what it will look like when you actually launch your ads. So this is the primary text that we created earlier. This is the headline that we created, and this is the description that we created earlier. And this is the call to action, get quote. So once they click on this button or any other area here, they will be redirected to the form that we created earlier. So once you have that, you scroll down here, you can still see everything that you've just created. So you can change it here, and I would just scroll down. And right here, you can start tracking. So here you can track different events, but you can also track your website events. So right here, you can use data to target more of the right people. It's a bit complex to explain everything about this in one video, so I'm also going to make another video about this. But one thing that you can already do is make a pixel that is connected to your website, and then you click on website events. So this is a great way to retarget people that have shown interest by looking at your website or looking at certain landing pages that you have. And right here, you can also add your CRM. This is also what we do with our clients, but it's a bit more complex. I'm also going to explain that in the other video. But it's a very strong tool because you can use Conversions API. And Conversions API basically means that when you have a pipeline on your CRM and your lead is moved to a different stage, it will send that information back to Meta so Meta knows in which stage that lead is. And this is something that I'm going to explain more about in another video. But if you're just a starter and you don't know how to do any of this, I would just keep this off and then I would just publish your campaign. So make sure to check everything to make sure that you didn't make any mistakes in your text, in your headlines, description, but also in your videos. You can make multiple ad sets and multiple ads to see what's working the best. So you can test with different audiences and with different ads. And if you click here, you can actually duplicate your ad so you don't have to copy all the text and all the other information. So you can just duplicate it and put it in the same campaign and then change the name to ad to and change the creatives and the other things that you want to change with that other ad. So it's really easy to do that. And once everything is finished, you just click on publish. And once you've done that, your campaign is automatically gonna publish. Make sure that your payment method is all right, because I see a lot of people, their ads are not running. Why? Because they haven't even verified or added their credit card to the ads manager yet. And then you'll see here that your ad is processing, and once your ad is actually approved by Facebook and Instagram, you will see that your ad will be active here on the delivery. Another thing is to keep your ads on for at least a week before you actually start seeing results, because you need to keep in mind that Meta still has a learning phase which takes about a week or even a bit longer. And during that phase, Meta is actually trying to find the best audience to show your ad to. And you don't want to turn off or pause your ad too soon. This is a big mistake that I see a lot of contractors and service businesses make all the time. Now, obviously, there's a lot more that goes into running a successful campaign than just setting up the ads. One of the most important parts is your sales process afterwards, because the ads are only as good as what you do with the leads afterwards. Ideally, you want to call leads within 10 minutes and then follow up strictly so you don't lose any opportunities. And here's the reality: as a contractor or service business, you don't have time to constantly create new ads, manage campaigns daily, and handle all the back-end work. And that's exactly why we built our system with a custom CRM for contractors and service businesses to maximize your conversions. So you can focus on closing the right projects while we take care of the heavy lifting in the background. And this isn't just theory. For example, one of our contractor clients got more than 70 leads and already 30 quotes sent out in under 1 month. And another service business that we work with got 101 quote inquiries in less than 50 days and already 15 booked jobs. If that sounds like something that would help, just click below and fill out the short form to book your free strategy call with us. And on the call, we'll review your market and show you the exact system that we use. And if it's a fit, we'll launch your campaign. I hope these tips already gave you some clarity. And be ready for more videos where I'll share strategies to help contractors and service businesses grow consistently. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on my next videos.